HBCU Day, which is going to be September 23rd. The lovely ladies of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority, Chapter Upsilon Omega Omega, is here today to have HBCU Talks. So we're going to have a casual talk about our HBCUs and why we love them so much. And those of you who are going to be able to watch this, you are going to fall in love with our HBCUs. Ladies, what I would like to ask you now, tell us in your own words, why did you choose your HBCU?
Well, I'll start. I chose my HBCU because it was a family school for me. My father attended, my grandmother, my sisters went there. I have cousins that are there now. So Hampton Institute at the time, but now Hampton University was a family school for me, and it has done a wonderful job of educating a lot of persons or people in my family. And also, it's a good school. I love my HBCU. HU now.
I can piggyback on that because Voorhees College was a family institution for us as well. My mother attended Voorhees College, and my father was right next door at Denmark Technical College. So there was no choice in the matter. I definitely had to choose Voorhees College, and the experience was one like none other. Just a small school. In classes, you're able to connect one-on-one with your professor. I really enjoyed everyone's company, all of the classes, the layout of the campus just really made me feel welcoming, and I enjoyed all of my 4 years at Voorhees College.
For me, my mother worked there. So I started out at Winthrop University and didn't do so well. My mom said, you know what, you need to come on back home, go to Benedict where you have a smaller environment, people know you, and stay on your case so that you're getting your work done.
Well, for me, my school, I'm so proud of my school. I love the nurturing that I got at my school. I chose South Carolina State because I would see people like me. You know, I went to in high school where there were 60% white and 40% black. So I wanted to go where I would see all of me. And of course, you know, my school, and for my school, I think, you know, there's no finer state than South Carolina State University. So, you know, for us, it's a state of mind. So, you know, so I'm just proud of my HBC. Go Bulldogs.
For me, I chose Claflin University, then Claflin College, because I was awarded a full academic scholarship.
Oh, nice.
Not only because of the scholarship, but because of members in my church, my family. My dad actually worked at Claflin, my neighbors, they all encouraged the Claflin education. So that's why I was at Claflin, and it was at home. So being young and not really ready to leave home, it was right in my back door.
So ladies, I think we have heard, we know the saying, the blacker the college, the sweeter the knowledge, because all of you said that. So now ladies, tell us, what did your HBC give you for your career? And I'll start that. I graduated, of course, from South Carolina State, and I majored in counselor education. In order to be a counselor at that time, you could get a BS degree. So not only did I get my BS degree from there, I got my master's, and I'm certified K through 12 as a guidance counselor. So ladies, tell us about your career choice, why you chose that major, and how did they prepare you for the career that you're doing today?
Well, I wanted to be an artist. Of course, my family is nothing but educators. And the one thing they said was, and especially back in that time, you're not going to be able to get a graphic art job here in South Carolina. I was like, wow. So you need to be a teacher. So education was the backdrop for me in my career, and the professors were very stern. They were strict on us about how we dressed. They were strict upon how we acted on campus. Mr. Knight was a huge proponent in saying, young lady, make sure you're always looking your best if you plan on getting a job one day. But I do have a dual major, so I did art education and commercial art in the event that maybe one day I could be a graphic artist.
Okay. Anyone else?
For me, my major is, I am a speech language pathologist. And when I was going through school at South Carolina State, was the only school in South Carolina that had an accredited program for speech language pathology and audiology. So we were the best. Some other schools had a program in South Carolina, lost it. We were the only one at that time. So I am so very proud of that very distinguished program at South Carolina State. The best, I would say, in South Carolina, still is. But I was prepared, we were nurtured in that program. I talked about being nurtured, you know, people coming around, it's like a neighborhood, of a neighborhood of family that just hold you up and have that your back support. So, you know, I love that. But of course, with my major, I wanted to do something to be a professional. And of course, that's what speech pathology is all about. You're being a very professional, and still is. So I just loved working with children, and that just fit me perfectly.
For me, I always had a passion for the sciences, math, and technology. And when I was in high school, I was introduced to Commodore 64, which was one of the really old computers, as well as Apple. So I knew I wanted to major in technology or mathematical field. So at Claflin, I did a double major of mathematics and computer science. Since graduating from Claflin, I have been in the IT profession for over 25 years now, with a range of jobs in different industries, because all industries have some type of technology these days. So I've been in development work, programming work, project management.
Well, I was an early childhood major, and my sisters also attended Hampton, and they were early childhood majors. So, and we had a family of educators. So I guess my family to me is very dear, and I've tried to follow in the footsteps of my family members. And I taught, left Hampton in 1976. I taught kindergarten for 36 years, and I taught second grade for 1 year. So I was an educator for 37 years. I retired 3 years ago. So Hampton prepared me to teach. And once I left there, I worked, as I said, for all those years as an early childhood teacher. And I think that Hampton gave me a very good background for that career. And I enjoyed teaching all of those years, and I'm enjoying retirement.
I graduated from Voorhees College with a degree in English. That has allowed me to do a lot of freelance writing for a few newspapers and some newsletters in our local area. I've steered away from that, and I'm now in the healthcare field. However, having an English degree does add into proofreading any memos that have to be sent to executives within the company, and just various avenues. So an English degree does play a major role in all of your everyday activities, and Mr. Jeffrey Sally really played a major role in me making the decision to choose English as my major. He was one of the professors that was just, again, like Rosalind said, was just really on your back, wanting to make sure that you got everything you needed. You need to go to the bookstore and get that book. You're going to be late for class. Just buckle down and get everything that you need. But English was definitely a winner for me.
Well, listeners, listening to the ladies, you're able to see what the HBCUs gave to them. Alpha Kappa Alpha has made the HBCU one of our #1 components that we're working toward. So my question to you all ladies now is, with an HBCU, why do you think that it's important that Alpha Kappa Alpha continues to make sure that HBCUs get the kind of, I guess I want to say, shine that they need to get?
I really feel that it's important that HBCUs are supported, because if it wasn't for HBCUs, where would we be?
Yes.
Because a lot of our major individuals who have impacted our history came from an HBCU. So I think it's just important. It's important to support it. It really is. I hope that at least one of my sons will be able to attend an HBCU, because I did have a great opportunity I enjoyed it.
I also think by the sororities from recognizing HBCUs, it keeps us focused and grounded, that we don't forget where we came from.
Yes,
That's our roots.
yes, I agree.
I just love the tradition of it, you know, the traditions that we have with an HBCU that other schools may not have. I've spoken with other African Americans who have not gone to an HBCU, but they wish they had when they see the camaraderie.
That's the word I was
that
thinking
we
about,
have
camaraderie,
going
exactly.
to an HBCU. We actually go to our schools and fellowship with each other, you know, and we look forward to going back there and getting together, you know,
Yes,
say
that's true.
homecoming week
Yeah.
or something like that. So the camaraderie, and they talked about that, you know, school, you know, other people who haven't gone to an HBCU, they look at us and see how they could have enjoyed being at an HBCU too. I have a daughter now who is going to be attending North Carolina A&T. That is the only school she wanted to go to.
They got the homecoming,
we're not
the
going to
G-O.
hold that. And I'm not going to hold it against her, you know. I'm not going to hold. They're our rivals, but I'm so proud of her that she wanted to go to an HBCU, and I know my daughter, she's more like me, and she would need that same nurturing, you know, that you get in an HBCU, and I'm so proud of her for wanting to go to one, and I would say she picked a fairly good one. I would say number 2 under the Bulldogs.
And one thing that I would like to say too about that, I'm a graduate of South Carolina State, and my 2 sons are graduates of South Carolina State, and my husband. So, of course, we love the Bulldogs.
Yes, you
But
do.
now, ladies, we've talked about the HBCUs, we've talked about the camaraderie, we've talked about what they gave to us. What would you say would be, that you would tell the listeners, something about your HBCU that maybe they wouldn't know? What do you think you would say? I know I would start that off. One thing I'll say about my HBCU is that it gave me the foundation for who I am today. My mentor was Dr. Doris Canty. She was a guidance counselor, and she came to college. She taught us in the counseling program. She made me want to be a counselor, and it made me the person I am now. She said, you'll get to do something different every day. That is the truth, and that's what I love about it. You can use your creativity. Counseling is what you make it, and I love it. And everything, and whenever I go to conferences now, there are only a few of us left who have a BS degree in counseling from South Carolina State. And no matter what conference we all get together and go out, because we are the few that have the undergraduate degree in counseling.
Well, the one thing I've taken from my HBCU is pride, if you can't tell. I have lots of pride for my HBCU, and it was ingrained in me while I was there. I came into my own at my HBCU. In my department, it was an excellent department, but they prepared us and they told us, they even compared us against other schools and said, you are just as good as the other schools.
Yes, that's
And
true.
that was ingrained in us. That's why I say I have pride for my HBCU, because they, you know, a lot of people look down on HBCUs, or it's like we're not as good as some other schools, but we are. We are just as good. We have to know that in our hearts and in our minds that we are just as good. I could have easily just went to another school, not an HBCU. But I chose to go to an HBCU, and I am so very proud of that.
At Benedict is a private school. A lot of people don't realize that. It's a private school by the South Carolina Baptists. So the one thing that I appreciated about Benedict was family and the spiritual aspect. It was important that we prayed. It was important that we gave homage to God. In our world lit class, one of the things that we used for world literature was the Bible, the Quran. We had the Jehovah's Witness Bible, and it was one of the, oh my goodness, I forgot the other one. But anyway, we had to use all those as resources to actually think and process and put information based on history, based on spiritual aspects. So it did prepare me as an individual to appreciate family and to appreciate religion and who I am.
As a graduate of Hampton, I appreciate the fact that Hampton still now has some of the traditions that they had when I was a student. Freshmen now still have a curfew those first 6 weeks of school. They have still some of the same values that they had when I was there as a student. So, you know, it let me know that even though I graduated 40 years ago, Hampton still has some of those traditions, and Hampton is a school of tradition. As I said, it's a family tradition for me, and as I said, I also have cousins that have children there. My nephew attended Hampton, so as I said, Hampton is just a school that carries a lot of traditions, and I like the fact that they're still using some of those same tactics now. I guess I shouldn't say tactics, but they have some of the same traditions now that they had when I was there. So there's a consistency there of wanting students to carry on and, you know, grow from the experiences that they have in going there.
I would say one thing that some may know or may not know about Claflin University is that the land that South Carolina State sits on was once Claflin's land. That land was given to South Carolina State in 1896.
All right.
Also, one of the things that I really like about Claflin is that the small professor-to-student ratio. You really get to know your professor, and your professor gets to know you. And I think your professor sometimes, for me, there was a Dr. Karango, that other opportunities open. Most summers, I was able to go on different type of excursions or paid vacations through different foundations. So your relationship with your professor is really intimate. They really get to know you, and as a result, they can open up other opportunities or different network opportunities for you.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. One more other thing, and Nika, you can go ahead. But I didn't want to be a number at a bigger school. I wanted to actually know my teachers, my classmates. I wanted to know my generation that came in, my class that came in. And at other schools that I was looking at going to, because others were going to those bigger schools, and I didn't want to be a number in a class, you know, so that was another big reason why I decided to go to HBCU.
And all of these aspects are what make a historically black college or university. If you listen to all of the ladies here, we're not only connected by Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, but we're connected by each of these individual HBCUs. We took away some of the same values and the knowledge that we got from all of the different professors, and just things that will help you in your everyday life that you'll never get anywhere else. So it's only right that you choose to attend an HBCU.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you have enjoyed listening to the ladies today. You've heard from Claflin University, South Carolina State, Benedict College, Voorhees College, and Hampton University. These are very prominent, well-known HBCUs. And what I like to tell anybody who listens to this, if you do not go to an HBCU, you will be sorry. For listening to us today. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.